Basketball fans, welcome into Raptors Today. The kids have taken over the station. You got Akil Augustine, Jevohn, Shepard, and Warren Ward replacing the old guys. Let's jump right into it. First and foremost, Toronto Raptors beat the Chicago Bulls in a game where things looked scary in the first half, mainly because of the Raptors' lack of size. Porter out once again. Jevohn, let's start with you. What adjustments did the Raptors make? Was it tactical? Was it effort? Because the second half looked significantly different from the first half.
Well, seeing as though the theme is going with the young guys,
yep,
right?
It is.
No, I would say, that game was impressive because, the team had all reason to just pack it in, right? You're undermanned, you're down 16, and I really thought you had a collective effort from this group, and you had them improve from the game against Atlanta, right? We're boxing out and
fourth quarter execution,
offensive rebounds really killed them. But yesterday, they controlled the boards, right? They had an advantage on the offensive boards, but they also turned Chicago over 20 times, which led to 30. They converted on the other end, 30 points. Then shot the basketball well, really moved the basketball. I believe it was 34 assists on, 43 made field goals. So there was a balance of the defensive effort, which led to some conversion. They got out and ran the basketball, but they shot the ball well, because they were also moving it and finding. And that's been Darko's theme. That's been Darko's identity so far with this team, is just moving the basketball. But to see how resilient they were in that they were undermanned, that, guys came up, they stepped up. And obviously it's tough times. It's interesting times right now because you're heading into trade deadline. Everybody's playing and making sure their stock is up. But also, Nwora, but he's been a pleasant surprise.
We'll get to him. Let's get Warren in here because there's no Barrett, there's no Quickly, there's no Pirtle like there hasn't been for a long time. And we're kind of worried because Vucevic had his way with this Raptors squad, but they found a way to kind of negate what he could do.
Yeah, and well, listen, the team is small, and that's a fact. And, there's so much that you can do against size. But what I like is the Raptors finished their free throws. Right, they shot 18 for 20 from the line, so that's number one. You're controlling all the things that you can actually control. So that was a step in the right direction. Also, how many changes has this team gone through in the season? I actually think it's impressive that they can come out and compete every night and win a game in Chicago after losing, to Atlanta with all the changes. This has been the first year I think I've been a part of the Raptors that we've seen 2-star players get traded. Yep. We've seen a multitude of starting lineups. We've seen, injuries happen. You've seen so many different I would have never thought I would see Thaddeus Young starting at center. I would have never thought I would have seen that for the Raptors. And for them to be competitive every night against teams that have full lineups, have the size, it's actually kind of impressive. So you kind of have to negate a bit of the things that they're not doing well and look at the overall fact that Jakob Poeltl's showing his value now. And you're seeing that. And for them to gut out that win, it's impressive.
They're being coached up. And let's talk about a guy that came in one of those superstar trades. Pascal out, 3 picks, but Bruce Brown comes in. And we're used to seeing Bruce Brown as an ancillary, complementary player to superstars, right? When we talk about his time in Brooklyn, his time in Denver. And was this the quintessential Bruce Brown game, Warren? Because he was needed, he was necessary, and he was put in a position where he kind of had to at times lead this group and find offense for them.
Yeah, no, he's someone who can do a little bit of everything. And I always say, players don't practice to be a guy like him. Everyone practices to be Steph Curry, but these are the kind of players that have 10, 12, 15-year careers because he can do a little bit of everything. And we saw that on display yesterday. That's a 6'4" guy setting a screen, and he's being guarded by a center and goes to the basket. It's impressive to see what he's able to do. That's why he's so valuable to teams around the league, because he's like a jack of all trades, and those guys are hard to come by. That's a skill, what he does. Doing a little bit of everything, that's a real skill.
Especially with Masai putting the league on notice, the Raptors are still open to talk, and Bruce Brown's out there auditioning, right?
Yeah.
Well, you look at what he did right there, and Warren, you touched on it as well, 19.7 rebounds. But if I ask you what Bruce Brown does well, nobody knows, right? The one thing is he competes, he plays hard. And because of that, it permeates throughout his team, elevates everybody else's game, but he just hustles. You watch him on the court, and sometimes you have to chuckle because all you see is his feet, just scurrying, everywhere on the court. It's okay, where are you going? But he finds his way. He has a knack for the basket. He sets tremendous screens, and we often think he's bigger. We underestimate how small he actually is.
Yep.
He's really only 6'4".
Yeah.
Right?
At best.
At best. 6'4", and we're talking about in shoes, right? With
He
the
plays
extra inch.
6'8", 6'9", but
At
he's
least.
6'4".
Setting
least.
screens, big time. He rebounds outside of his area, and I think he just enjoys that part of the game, doing all the intangibles. And it is a skill, right? He's a unicorn in that, he doesn't need the basketball to impact the game. He doesn't want the basketball, but he's going to find his way around the ball.
All right, now I talked to Ashley and Jonesy about this, but I haven't gotten you guys' impressions because I was waiting for some extended run for Nwora. And it finally came the last 2 games. Super impressive. Shep, I'll start with you. He's going to put some pressure on Darko when this team is fully healthy because I think he's set up an argument. He needs minutes.
Well, he's a bucket.
Yeah, that snatch
he
back
puts the
3
ball
that
in the
he
hole,
had.
right?
Yeah.
But just in talking to him as well, I think people the part about him that people don't realize is he's from Buffalo, right? So
Right down the street.
Raptors have been, the team he grew up watching. 2019, he actually came here. He was in high school. He actually came to the parade and was a part of that. So I think for him right now, he's also living his dreams. Not just RJ playing for his home team. Nwara's playing for his home team. Mm-hmm. But I just like every time he touches the basketball, he puts pressure on the defense, right? Yeah. He's always thinking, okay, go,
Another
go,
similarity
go.
to RJ.
Yeah, and he's one of those guys as a coach, you don't have to tell him, we need you to play hard. We got to kickstart. You don't have to turn that switch on. You got to kind of tell him at times, especially when your roster's together completely, you got to pull it back a bit. We need you to slow it down.
The light's yellow, not green.
So, but those guys, they're always going to be a threat. In a game when you're undermanned like this, he can also win you a game by himself, right? And I think he's somebody that you really have to look at and just, hey, he's still young. Like, what is his ceiling really going to be like?
Yeah, he fits that 6'9" operation that we're running.
6'9" bucket.
Yeah, with some shoulders.
Bucket.
With some shoulders.
Well, listen, he's a 4-year pro.
Yeah.
He's Masai found another ready-made guy who was looking for an opportunity, and he's relishing in it. So, it's a small sample size, but so far so good.
The man I mentioned he's putting the pressure on is Darko. Let's check in with Coach Darko right now.
Having come through 5 tough losses, getting a win sort of gets in their heads. You talked about it yesterday a little bit, showing a tangible result for playing hard.
For sure. I really have to give a lot of credit to our group of guys. They really work hard. They're really into dissecting the film and getting better. We lost 5 games, but we were in all of those games. We were in games, and it was a couple of possessions that decided one way or the other. So keeping up their spirits, building those guys up, and next man up mentality. Tonight, Ted Young with 16 points, 6 assists, and 6 rebounds. We gotta recognize that. And Gary, started the game really well, shoot the ball really well. A lot of guys really contributed. I was happy with Jalen McDaniel's minutes there as well, off the bench, as well as Jordan Nwora. Plus, in the game, we lost Jonathan Porter with some lower back pain, so he was not able to come back and finish the game.
You guys were still able to get a fair bit of offense in the paint. What was working for you? I saw a fair number of interior passes, but what was kind of key for a small team to score at the rim? Yeah,
we were really looking to attack certain matchups so we can attack the paint. Obviously, we have players in Scotty, in Dennis that can touch the paint, on a will. We were able to get 20 times to the free throw line as well, made our free throws tonight. And, when we move the ball and they find open shots like that, touching the paint actually opens up shots for us, So multiple actions, multiple backdoor cuts, because they were trying to go and blow up all of those DHOs and off-ball screens, and we kept talking about cutting. That is going to create offense for us.
Thanks for watching the Toronto Raptors YouTube channel. Check out our latest videos and subscribe for more.
Trent answers back. Gary, sidestep. 3.